Hello, everybody. Welcome to the session for body skincare with Dr. Chytra Anand in collaboration with SkinQ. Today, we will be discussing a lot of body skin issues that most of us face here with Indian skin. And some of the key points that we'll be discussing are strawberry skin, dark knees, elbows, pigmentation on various body parts, and also stretch marks, cellulite, etc. In the end, we will be having a session for everybody to ask questions, Dr. Chitra. So let's just wait for one last minute and then we will begin with the session. For all those who have joined the session, just letting you all know that we are running a small contest wherein if you take a screenshot of the masterclass and post on your story, tagging and telling us what you really liked about the class, you can stand a chance to win a gift hamper from SkinQ's end. So with that, we would like to begin the session now. I think Dr. Chatra has already joined us and welcome, Doc. Very good evening.
Hi, Namanita. How are you?
Hi, Doc. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Wonderful, Doc. So very happy to have you here to discuss body skincare issues with Indian skin. And Doc, directly jumping into the session, I would like to ask you, how is the skin on body different from the skin on our face?
Oh, gosh, a great question. Most people think skin everywhere is the same, but it's not. The skin on the body actually is different from the skin on the body, on the face. The reason is the skin on the body is thicker because the skin on the face is thinner than on the body. So also the body skin tends to be more protected from sun damage and environmental damage because a lot of times we're wearing clothes. It's not as exposed to the sun like the other parts of the body. Only in that maybe the hair, the hands might be the only one and the feet a little bit that might be exposed, but otherwise not really. And also there's a lot more hair follicles on the body skin compared to the face. The face doesn't have as much hair, right? The appendages, but the body tends to have, and the oil glands in the body skin is way lesser than in the facial skin. So these are a few ways that the body and the face skin change are varied.
All right. So, Doc, do we actually need a different kind of skincare to take care of the skin on the body?
We do. The reason being that, the problems of the face are very different from the problems that the body has, right? Like in the body, it's not very common to get acne often, except maybe on the back, chest, and shoulders, but the rest of it, not so much. The body skin tends to have different problems, more like ingrown hair issues. It tends to have something like keratosis pilaris, where there's changes in the skin with roughness and texture changes. You don't get the same kind of roughness on the face ever. And then you also tend to get darkening on the elbows, on the knee and joints and stuff like that. Sometimes even the knuckles get pigmented in some people. You also get like thickening and darkening of the pigmentation on the back of the neck, on the underarm area, etc. in body skin. So these are common things you'll see. You'll see stretch marks, you'll see cellulite. None of this happens on the face skin.
All right. So then, Doc, if there is a different kind of skincare required, is there also a skincare routine or a regimen required for the body?
Skincare for the body is actually really simple. All we need to do is a sunscreen for the exposed areas of the body in the day, and then a body lotion like a moisturizer. That's it. You don't need to put lots of layers of serums and all of those things, right? And if your skin is healthy, you don't even have to moisturize it for most times. But post 25, like I always say, the skin changes. And as the skin changes, you start seeing that, you get drier, you get more dehydrated on the face, but on the body, it tends to get more drier. So that gives it a little bit of scaliness and stuff. So when that happens, then of course, it makes more sense for us to have moisturizer in there. But what is required is exfoliation. People forget about that. But what is critical for body skin is exfoliation, at least once a week minimum, to exfoliate the skin so that all the rough, dead skin on the surface comes off. And what's remaining is nice, smooth skin. So this is typically what happens.
All right, great, Doc. So if we have to exfoliate at least once a week, what are the kind of ingredients that you would suggest for exfoliation of the body?
People can use scrubs. I know people love using scrubs. They're always asking me, can we use scrubs? Can we use scrubs, etc.? And I'm like, never on the face, because the face skin is so much thinner. But on the body, somebody can get away using a sugar scrub or a salt scrub once a month, not once a week, once a month, or once in 2 months, once in 2 weeks. But what's a good exfoliant to use? You can use a loofah on a daily basis, actually, for the body skin, right? You get those loofahs that you can use. Pumice stones are good to use, and stuff for the body skin. You can even use active exfoliants on certain parts of the body, especially like the knees, at the elbow joints, underarms, and stuff like that, which gets darker and pigmented and thickened skin. But otherwise, just like your pumice stones and your loofahs and all of that is great. But what is really good is to use a body lotion with a built-in lactic acid, because that not only moisturizes the skin, but it also smoothens and softens the skin, because it's like a micro exfoliant. So I think that combination would be much better.
All right. And Doc, after exfoliation, do we need to have an after exfoliation skincare or care for the body skin?
Unlike the face, right? Face, we definitely do, because the skin is much thinner on the face. But on the body, we don't really need to have an after the exfoliation, just moisturizer. We don't need to use a clay mask or any of those things like we would on the face, but we can definitely use a moisturizer, because once the skin is exfoliated and stuff, it tends to leave like micro tears in the skin, and it tends to dry it out because it removes the surface body oil. And the body skin doesn't make as much oil as the face skin, because the number of oil glands is hardly there. So because of that, it's important to moisturize after a scrub. And few things to realize after your exfoliation or a scrub, any kind of exfoliation, is no heat, like no steam and sauna for at least 48 hours after exfoliation. No extreme sun exposure. Like if tomorrow you're going to the beach, you shouldn't be exfoliating today. You should give at least 48 to 72 hours before that. So these are the few critical things to remember.
All right. Now, Doc, I think one big highlight for this session would be strawberry skin, because a lot of the participants wanted to understand what is strawberry skin. A lot of them even have it. So, Doc, we would like to know from you, what is actually strawberry skin and how to take care of a skin like that.
Strawberry skin is a name that was concocted by social media. We actually call it keratosis pilaris, or KP. As a dermatologist, that's what we call it. But what it is our skin naturally sheds every day on a daily basis. That's normal. But when the skin cells can't shed, they clump up. And when they clump up, they tend to clump up over ingrown hair sometimes. And then they just cause a clumping and they become hard. So when you push your hand against it like this, it feels very rough. And then they tend to look a little red in those areas. So that's one side. The other is when it gets smoother, because of the irritation in that area, there seems to be like a pink or a reddish dot left, sometimes brownish dots. That's why they're called strawberry, because like a strawberry, you have little dots on your skin and stuff. So that is keratosis pilaris. What works on that is a cream which has lactic acid and urea in there, a softener and an exfoliant combined together. And in fact, we have the Smooth and Bright Body Lotion, which we will be launching in the month of June. And that is actually what it is for strawberry legs, keratosis pilaris, and pigmentation and stuff like that. But yeah, that's typically what it is.
Okay, interesting fact, Doc. And then, Doc, what about after shave skin? Like even with shaving materials, they leave back bumps on the skin. Is that also, something like strawberry skin?
Sorry, repeat again.
Sometimes even razors, while shaving, leave back small bumps on the skin. Is that also strawberry skin?
Correct. No, it's not strawberry skin, but they're what we call as razor bumps. Okay. And a lot of times you can get ingrown hair after shaving, especially if one does a dry shave. The best way to shave is a wet shave. So where you get into the shower and then your skin gets wet and moisturized. So the skin softens, and then you put like a shaving cream, or you put a shampoo or a conditioner, and then you shave. That's a wet shave, right? With that, the skin doesn't get nicked. Otherwise, when you're shaving with a dry shave, it's another form of exfoliation. In fact, we call it dermaplaning. So that happens. So that gives a bit of trauma to the skin, and that trauma will give those bumps up on the skin. Some can get infected, which then becomes folliculitis. And then some just stay as bumps, which are ingrown hair. So it's important to ensure that you have a wet shave, then you can prevent it. The other ways to prevent it also with the shaving is that if you do a wet shave, it's one of the ways is to prevent. The other is to keep the skin soft, smooth, and exfoliated. So like I said, lactic acid and urea based moisturizers on a daily basis for the body is excellent. And avoiding dry shaves. And if men are prone to it, we always tell men, even in the beard area, to use electric razors rather than the shaving blades. And multi shaving blades is better than a single shaving blade any day.
All right. Interesting fact, Doc. Now moving on to the next question, Doc. We have a lot of queries with pigmentation or like dark patches on knees, elbows, and underarms. Going deep into this topic, why does this discoloration happen on these body parts, and how can we avoid it?
A lot of it is hereditary, and some of it can be genetic. People don't realize it, but as a race, Indians, we have what is called skin of color. Skin of color tends to pigment easily. Now, if you look at elbows and knees, these are areas of high friction. And any kind of friction leads to thickening of the skin. Whenever there's constant irritation, constant rubbing, constant friction, this leads to hyperpigmentation. And that's typically what we see in the elbows, knees, and all of this, inner thigh, and all of that, because constant rubbing. Elbow, people are always sitting down on their desk, or you're keeping your arms somewhere. That's the friction. With the knees, you're either kneeling down, or even when you're sitting, right? The fabric of the skin, if you're wearing trousers especially, keeps rubbing against the knee. Then also when your knee is moving up and down, right? The skin crinkles on these areas. If you look at the elbow area, knee area, they crinkle. This kind of high traffic in that area leads to friction, and friction is irritation. Irritation leads to hyperpigmentation. That's what happens.
Okay. And then is there a way to avoid it? I mean, it sounds like we cannot avoid it. But if we cannot, how can we, make it all right? How
You
can
can avoid it in terms of keeping the skin moisturized and hydrated. See, the thing is, skin has a lot of elasticity, flexibility, and give. And so if you have that kind of flexibility and give, then the skin will stretch, it'll expand. And so there won't be a problem with it having pigmentation. Like I don't have any pigmentation because I keep it hydrated and moisturized. So that's the whole thing. It comes back to the fundamental of how much stretchability does your skin have. Like when you stretch it, does it stretch well? If it can't stretch well, it causes trauma or irritation. And that's what leads to all of this. So it's critical to keep that skin moisturized and hydrated. Now, if it does pigment, what can be done? There's pigment spot solutions, right? Like elbow knee solutions. We have the SkinQ one launching in June along with the Smooth and Bright Cream, which is like a treatment solution which you put on your elbows, your knees, underarms, back of the neck, inner thigh, etc. Leave it on and wash it off. What it does is it softens the skin on that area. It reduces the pigment cells, pigmentation, not the cells, but reduces the pigmentation in that area and calms the pigment cells to produce at a normal rate instead of at the hyperactive stage. So you can use a solution to get rid of that pigmentation once you get it. So for one, it's preventable. Second, it's treatable.
All right. So then it is preventable as well as treatable, and seems like moisturization or the nourishment is a key factor in this.
Exactly.
Moving on to some questions from the audience, Doc. We are going to move on to stretch marks and questions related to cellulite. So the first question, Doc, here is how to reduce stretch marks?
Okay, that's a great question. So stretch marks happens because the skin is torn, because skin is expanding and it's expanding beyond its capacity. So it's not able to give anymore. So there's a tear in it. That's a stretch mark. Now, as soon as it happens, it's red in color. So when it's red in color, it can be helped to reduce. So using high intensity oils like grapeseed oil and wheat germ oil, etc., with calendula and various other things which penetrate to the deeper level of skin will help. Silicone gels will help because silicone gels form a film on the early stretch marks, cause a lot of heat, which causes the skin to contract. Or definitely lasers like fraction lasers, etc., or microneedling radio frequencies at a derm office will help. But once they turn white, it's next to impossible really to treat them in Indian skin. So we always tell people if it's the early stage of a stretch mark, come right away. We can cure it 100%. But if it's like a white stretch mark, all you can do is moisturize, nourish the area, keep that skin looking supple, but the whiteness is not going to go. But if you're like a fair person and white skin, it'll get whiter with time and blend into your natural skin color. But if you are a little bit more tan or shaded, then it's only going to get darker white as we get older.
All right. Interesting. All right. So our next question that I have for you, Doc, is related to acne on body. And we need to know from you, what is the solution for acne on the back?
Right. Backne or back acne, as it's commonly called, right? It has to do with increased secretion of oil, actually. It's more related to the hormone testosterone and sensitivity of the testosterone in the body, typically seen in teenage years. Other times in life when we see it is when there is poor hygienic habits, or if somebody's on antidepressants, they're known to cause backne. Or if somebody's had waxing on the back, then that can lead to a folliculitis breakout, which then turns into acne. Those are the other common causes, okay? But the most common is because of the oil secretion. So there's clogging in the back. It forms whiteheads and blackheads on the back. Then you get these red little bumpies, and then they get infected, and then that's how you get the whole cascade of acne. First thing, if there's infection, it needs to be cleaned up. So as a dermatologist, we usually give our patients acne antibiotics. So that's something that is got on prescription. And then what you can do at home is you can use your salicylic acid face wash from your face. You could use a glycolic face wash, any of those, as a body wash. Nowadays, you also get body washes with salicylic acid or benzoyl peroxide that are easily available. So you use that as your first step instead of using a shampoo and conditioner. Second, you need to apply treatment products. So body lotions with lactic acid, body lotions with glycolic acid are typically what's used on body acne to soften the whiteheads, soften the skin, the blackheads, and to slowly exfoliate on the surface and gently clean up the acne. But whenever there's acne, as a dermatologist, we always say that what is critical is prescription medication.
All right, so there has to be a blend of nutraceuticals and body skincare products. All right. So doc, the next question.
Definitely, because body is a lot is concern. Sorry, body is a bigger concern than just the face. In the face, you can get away with applying only here. But when it's in the body, we call it as being systemic. So you're going to need a little bit more of an aggressive treatment. Otherwise, backs can scar badly.
All right, noted. Next question, doc, is after 2 days of epilation, my skin tends to be very dry and itchy. What can I do?
Right. So basically, that's like a razor burn. If someone's epilating and the skin is getting red and itchy after a day or two, it's a razor burn. So that has to do more with having shaved on dry skin or having done a dry shave. So, like I said before, do a wet shave and use like a shaving jelly. And if you don't have it, just use a hair conditioner. It softens the hair, so it'll soften the hair on your body and the skin around it. So it becomes easier to shave. Right after you shave, use a lot of moisturizer. If you're terribly a dry skin person, even use body oils after. That'll help. And then use electric blades. Well, not so much on the body, but use multi-blade systems for the body.
Noted. All right. Next question, doc, we have to you. We have all seen AM PM skincare routine for face and neck, but no one talks about body. So we want to know from Dr. Chytra, what can we do for AM PM and daily skincare routines for the whole body?
Like I said, body is so much easier than the face. It's not as complex, right? So it's simple. When you wash your hair or have your shower in the morning, use your body solution and just cleanse yourself like how you do with your shower gel and everything. But right after that, two things. If you have dry skin, just wipe off all the water. Don't towel dry yourself. Just spray off all the water like this, and then apply a body oil. Then dab yourself dry and then put a moisturizer. That's if you're dry skin. But if you're normal skin, oily skin, etc., then what you do is you just wipe yourself dry. Don't wipe with towel, but dab yourself dry. Wiping is too vigorous. That also can hurt the skin. So just dab yourself dry. Put moisturizer onto moist skin. Absorbs much better and faster. And then go out and about. If you're going to be in the sun and you have sun exposed areas, apply sunscreen on your sun exposed areas. In the night, I don't know, some people tend to shower, some people don't, but right after, just put lots of moisturizer and go to bed. It's as simple as that on a daily basis. But on a weekly basis, try and exfoliate your skin. Put that loofah or a pumice stone or those body scrubs or exfoliating solutions in your routine as once a week. This is all you need to do for body. Body skin is super easy.
Okay, one question from the skincare routine itself, doc. Is sunscreen important for the body? And if yes, what SPF factors should we be looking at?
Sunscreen is definitely important for the body skin also. A lot of times people ignore the body and concentrate on the face, and they've been known to get skin cancer in Caucasian patients, not so much Indian patients, but it can happen anywhere. So what's important is, yes, definitely sunscreen on exposed parts of the body, especially arms and hands, right? Because that's what's most exposed. And then our chest, like this chest area and the back of our neck, because this area anyway we cover when we're putting sunscreen on our face and neck. That is very critical to do. Now, along with that, SPF. Okay, SPF of 40 and above is ideal. SPF of 30 is okay, but it's a shorter lasting. But SPF 40 is great. SPF 50 is good. You can use a body lotion. You can use a spray. But with the spray, one should just make sure that they shake it first, spray it, and then gently spread it all over the skin. Those are the critical things to know about sunscreen.
So, doc, what SPF should be looking at for the body?
Anything about SPF 40, 50.
40, 50. All right. All right. So, doc, the last question for the evening to you is that what is the solution for cracked heels?
Great question. So cracked heels, a lot of times people are walking bare feet, and dust itself is also a trigger. It can be irritating, and there's dust always on the floor in India, no matter how much we sweep and swap, because it's just a dusty environment. So what happens is this over time collects, and because we're also walking on that area, tends to give cracks in that area. So what one must understand with this is that first you need to use those exfoliating paddles that you get for the leg. You have to get one of those in your house, right? You get the foot exfoliating paddles. They could be metallic, or they could be like files. They're basically skin files. So you soak your feet in warm water and then take it off, and then do the scrubbing action, the nail filing kind of action on the feet, which happens in a pedicure, can be done at home. Right after that, apply oil, and then apply lactic acid and urea moisturizer, put on cotton socks, and then go to bed. So that over a period of about 2 to 3 weeks will heal cracked heels. And cracked heels is because the skin is already dry, it's getting drier, it's not getting nourished enough, because it's at the sole of the feet. Nobody really concentrates on it most times. So moisturizing that area is critical. And the other thing, if some people have very bad cracked heels, what I tell them as a dermatologist is to take like a 5-liter can of oil, warm it up, put it in a bucket, soak the feet in that warm oil for about 10 minutes. Then gently wipe off all the excess oil, put on moisturizer with urea lactic acid, cotton socks, go to bed. Do this on a daily basis. You can reheat and use the same oil. You don't have to get 5 liters of oil every time. Put the oil back in the can and then reuse it. Once somebody does this consistently over 2 to 3 weeks, in 21 days, they see that the cracked heel gets much better. So that is what is critical for cracked heel. And try to wear like slippers and socks instead of walking bare feet when there is cracked heel. So 90% of the cases get solved like this. There is about 10% who have persistent cracked heels. In those cases, important to go see the dermatologist to ensure that there's no other skin condition happening other than this. It could even be like psoriasis or severe eczema, etc. So that needs to be ruled out.
Interesting, Doc. I think we have actually answered a lot of interesting insights on body skincare. And as SkinQ is stepping into body skincare very soon, this was very much important to have. So, Doc, thank you so much for joining us this evening and answering all our questions. I think this was a really great session. Thank you so much, Doc.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Thank you, Doc. Bye. So for all the participants who have joined us, just going to repeat again that we will have an interesting gift hamper to give out to anybody who is writing to us with why they enjoyed the masterclass. And if there are any questions from the audience that we were not able to answer, we are definitely going to take it up if you message us or DM us on our Instagram handle, which is at my SkinQ. So everybody, thank you so much for joining the session. You will definitely get a free gift from the SkinQ team. So we are just dropping a form here, which you can fill up. And please fill up with your addresses so we can send your free gift products from SkinQ as soon as possible. And if you want to shop from the SkinQ website, please do use SQ Talks 20 and get a 20% off on the SkinQ website. Everybody, thank you so much for joining the session. And you can fill out the form which has been posted in the chat.